Hello, I'm Rick of Rick's Video Journals. 71 years old. Going to be celebrating an anniversary here next month. 1 year ago, next month, I was freed from a 37-year involvement with a narcissist. I want to say I was married to her, which I was married to her, but there was no real marriage. I'm finding out through studies on the internet here that narcissist, which is what my wife was, actually she was a diabolical narcissist, covert narcissist. There's many different variations of narcissism. My wife was in the beginning a covert narcissist. Later on, actually, with me, she became an overt narcissist. In the last 7 years, anyhow. And she, in this last 7 years, became a diabolical narcissist. 37 years. I must have been pretty good supply. I must have been pretty good use, because she used me for 37 years. I used to kid. I used to say, well, as long as I'm handy, she'll keep me around. I was kidding. I didn't know it was prophetic. I mean, it was prophetic because when I wasn't any longer useful, she started abusing me. Oh, she abused me a little bit before, while she was still using me. But in 2011, her use of me had pretty well stopped. I think she didn't want me around anyhow. But she stopped using me and proceeded to start abusing me. Abuse manifested in things like lack of respect. She wouldn't respect me. I mean, I won't go into all of it, but it's there. If I had just known about narcissism 37 years ago, I'd sit here and watch it on the TV, on YouTube, and I swear to God, every one of these people that have talked about narcissism, covert narcissism, overt narcissism, diabolical narcissism, psychopathic narcissists, I swear to God, they all knew my wife. I was tempted to say they knew her intimately, but you can't know a narcissist intimately because there is no intimacy with a narcissist. What you perceive from what I've learned and think is intimacy is really you're being intimate with yourself, because they're only reflecting and mirroring you, because they have no ability to be intimate themselves. Love, they don't love either. They reflect the love you have for them back at you. They have no legitimate love, period. They can't. They can't. They can't love. They have no empathy. What you think is empathy, it's really your own empathy being reflected back at you, if they care to do so. And they don't always care to do so. Mine had no empathy for me when my father died. She had no empathy for me when my mother died. She had no empathy for me when my stepbrother died. She had no empathy for her own family members when a family member died. I had no idea what she was. I knew she always wanted to be center stage. She always wanted attention. I just wrote that off as, well, you know, she was an only child for quite a while when she was a kid. she got the attention of everybody, so she was just sort of spoiled. And I sort of thought it was cute in the beginning. Didn't bother me. I've never wanted to center the stage for anything. I've always sort of enjoyed being a stagehand in the background, setting the stage for other people, man behind the curtain, so to speak. Make them look good. That's really who I am. Comes anyway, now that's sort of, she actually mimicked that, and that's what I'm learning on YouTube here, that they any feelings they have that they're not legitimate, they're just they're fake. They're a reflection of what they pick up off of you, and if they think the situation requires that kind of behavior, they'll mimic that behavior for the sake of the situation, if they choose to. If they think crying is what they need to do in a particular situation, if they choose to, they'll cry. I don't know. 37 years, 71 years old. I had thought I pretty well had figured out life by the time I was 50. Went out and bought a computer. I found out real quick I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing. But I've spent, since 1998, learning. A lot to learn out there. A lot of knowledge that you don't know. Knowledge you don't even know you need to know. If I had known about narcissists, I might not have even studied it. I had no reason to. The only reason I got into narcissist study in the last year was because of what happened. I couldn't find an explanation for it. First I thought it was because she was physically ill, and it was affecting her mind or something. But I got to studying it for some reason, looking for answers, trying to figure out what in the hell happened. I swear to God, all these people know my wife intimately. Wife. I call her wife. Problem is, she never was a wife. She was there. She wasn't one. I'm not saying that to hurt anybody, because number one, if for one moment you think anything you say or do is going to hurt a narcissist, you're wrong. It's not going to hurt them. They may appear to be hurt because they're going to reflect what they think is hurt behavior, if the situation they feel is one where they can manipulate others with that pretense of being hurt. And that's a natural instinct for us. When somebody hurts us, we want to hurt them back. A narcissist doesn't even do that. They don't hurt you back because, number one, they don't hurt. They don't know what hurt is. That's why it's so easily for them to hurt you. After a while, you get sort of numb to it. At least I did. And I just didn't allow them to hurt me. It hurt me anymore. I put it on the back burner, I hurt, and dealt with the situation, because I felt dealing with the situation was more important than me acting like a baby and hurting. Learned a lot off of the computer, YouTube, the internet, about a lot of things. This is something else. Just something else. What's her name? Luminous Star. I've been watching her lately. She pretty well tells it like it is. I'd noticed in my early studies about 11 months ago, there was a lot about narcissists, but it was mainly about men being narcissists. It's not that I'm necessarily looking for videos and information on female narcissists, but it does seem But that seems to be taking over now, and the male narcissist videos are being sort of put aside. It's more about women being narcissists now, and they're not really even saying men anymore. They're saying he or she. And more men are on here now talking about narcissist, female narcissist. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like I say, I don't care if you got a PhD or what. You can't know everything. And by the time you learn some things, it's too late. So that's where I'm at. 37 years, built a business, paid for my home twice, paid for the business. I got business property that's supposedly, as far as I know, is paid for. Got a dormitory behind the main part of the business that I could be living in. Wouldn't cost me a dime to be living there. But I got to spend money out here, my Social Security money that's limited, thanks to her. It's limited. I got to be paying for an apartment over my head when I got a fully furnished dormitory behind the business that I could be living in. I don't know. Everybody's sort of treating this like it's just like it's a divorce, and I deserve to be divorced based upon the smear campaign and the lies she has told about me, which none of it is true. None of it. I've been smeared beyond just friends. I've been smeared all over the place. I had a business. I'd have a fat chance in hell in resurrecting that business if I was to get it, because nobody would want to come to the business. Oh, there's always going to be some people that's going to believe a lie, and some people that's not going to believe the truth. So there's always going to be somewhere between a 40 to 60%, one way or the other, of who believes what and who don't believe what. It doesn't really matter. I had a good reputation before. Never was in trouble with the law, never had any domestic disturbances or anything like that. But she set me up and then told a whole bunch of lies. Got me put out, got me arrested. Put a protective order on me for 8 months with a muzzle. I couldn't talk to anybody, couldn't discuss anything. While she did her smear campaign, while she had a muzzle on me. And then to get attention, she suddenly had all these physical ailments that she decided to deal with, that she's had for years, but would not go to the doctor, would not deal with them. I've sat here and wondered, did she postpone all those years dealing with these ailments, these obvious problems, just so that she could use them when she wanted the attention after she discarded me? That's a pretty dangerous thing to do with cancer, to ignore it and wait for the day when it would best serve you to decide to deal with it. But I'm really wondering, I mean, it's insane. This luminous star is talking about how you can actually become mentally ill trying to figure out a narcissist. The longer you're with them, the more likely you're going to have some mental, emotional illness. And I got no doubt that I've had some mental sickness at times. I've had some emotional disturbances at times, trying to figure her out. You can't think like the criminal, as they say, think like the criminal. Well, you can't think like a narcissist, because narcissist thinking is based upon no feelings, no emotions. It's all simple logic. And my narcissist actually admitted that at one time. Of course, I didn't know what a narcissist was back then. She says, I don't have emotional things. I deal with stuff logically. I said, you sound like a guy. She said, well, I always sort of was a tomboy, and my dad always sort of wanted a boy instead of a girl, so I think I just learned to act more like a boy and be logical than emotional. Yeah, oh boy. I gotta say, I cannot believe if it wasn't for the fact of where I'm sitting right now and the fact that I've still got my mind, I've still got my brain, I still have my memories, thank God. If it wasn't for the fact I still have that, I wouldn't believe any of this. I wouldn't believe it's even happened. And that might be part of that emotional denial or something, I don't know. Mental denial. 37 years, 71 years old, with this woman for 37 years, built the business, paid for the home twice, paid for business property. I think built one hellacious good business. Had potential. It never reached its maturity because its maturity would have meant she wouldn't be at the center of attention. So she made certain that that development direction for the business did not happen because she would not have been at the center of attention if it had developed and matured in the direction that I had built it for, that I had visions for, that I had its goal for. She made certain she was the sole proprietor. She even mentioned to me, she said, when we don't have employees, I feel so much better. Things are so much nicer around here when I'm just working by myself. Yeah, by then she'd pretty well put me out of business by disabling me. I can make this sound real romantic if you want. She broke my heart. Yeah, she damaged the nerves that runs my heart by overdosing me in 2011 on a pain medication called naproxen. 500 milligram pills. She was giving me 2 at a time every couple hours for at least 7 to 10 days. Now, when I tell that to some people who are familiar, they say, yeah, that's not possible. You'd be dead. Said you can't take that many of those for that long, it would kill you. And I said, well, maybe most people can't, but I did. And I'd been taking them for quite some time before that, but not in that dosage. She increased that dosage in the last 2 weeks before I ended up in the hospital and had a pacemaker put in. The irony is, oh man, I got it all. I watch these YouTube videos and the things that people are saying and discussing, and it takes me back in memory, stimulates my memory, and I realize this situation, I remember that situation, that type of behavior, that trait, that symptom. Oh my God. And then there's the whole gaslighting thing, where the narcissist tries to make you think you're crazy, which you're pretty much well on your way to doing if you've been with them for very long and you're trying to figure them out. When you don't know what a narcissist is and you're just trying to figure out what's going on with her, why is she behaving? I don't understand this. You're trying to logic and figure it out. That's driving you crazy right there, trying to figure it out because you can't figure them out. But if I go discussing some of the things that I know, based upon what I've learned off of YouTube on narcissism, I'll sound even more crazy. Yeah. I remember her once asking me, well, if you're so fed up and say you can't take it anymore, why are you still here? Why don't you leave? And I was angry and I looked at her and I says, well, the reason I won't do that, I won't leave those 4 dogs. I ain't like you. I'm not going to leave 4 kids behind, and those are like my kids. I'm not going to abandon them and leave just to get away from you like you did. Your situation, abandoned 4 kids. It was 2 months later, one of them died. She came to me and says, so-and-so's laying by the side of the bed. And she said, I think she's dead. I said, are you kidding me? Turns out she was dead. Within 8 months, all 4 of those dogs, or all 3, we had 3, one had died the year before. All three of those dogs were dead. And one long after that, she started her crap again. Well, she never stopped, but she really turned it on. And I remember her looking at me and she saying, "You don't have to worry about staying now or abandoning the kids because all the dogs are dead." Something clicked. What? And then I remembered what I had told her months before. And after watching this thing on YouTube about how diabolical they can be, I wonder, and it's hard for me to even say it because I'm at this point I don't care whether I sound crazy. I wonder if she didn't kill the dogs, figuring if she killed the dogs, and the next time she tried to get me to push me out, to discard me, trying to cause me to leave, that because the dogs would be dead, not there anymore, that I would go ahead and leave. I really wonder about that. I wonder because I don't want to really wrap my head around the fact that my wife would kill dogs to get me to leave because I'd said I wouldn't leave and abandon those dogs, and I certainly couldn't take them with me. So she kills them. I don't want to believe that, but combined with a lot of other things that have happened over the years that I'm now connecting with narcissistic behavior due to YouTube in the last 11 months, I got a picture of her that I don't like. And it's been real difficult to get my head wrapped around the fact, and it's real difficult to protect my heart from a woman that I loved when I realized that I was wasting my time. I was spinning my wheels. Matter of fact, that brings to mind what I had said several decades ago. I said, there are times that you make me feel like I'm just spinning my wheels, like, what in the hell am I doing this for? And she'd just stare at me. Never forget that stare. And then I clicked on a deal on YouTube one day about the narcissistic stare. Oh my God, that's her look. It's exactly her look. I called it, she fish-eyed me, a fish-eyed stare. A fish eyes, they just look like a fish eye. It's a stare. When she would look at me. But probably 85% of the time, she'd never look at me. Unless I forced to get her attention to get her to look at me, she'd give me that fish-eyed stare, which I guess is called a narcissistic stare of death. In other words, it's a look like you're not even there. I've learned a lot about narcissism, and it's taken me 11 months to really digest a lot of it. I've digested it a little bit at a time because it is very, very disturbing. Very disturbing. It turned a situation where I thought she just had a physical ailment that was affecting her emotionally, to now realizing that this is more than a physical ailment that affected her emotionally. This is the way she is, and I gotta say, is it really possible for somebody to deny themselves the medical attention that you keep telling them they need to get, just so they can use that attention, medically attention, when it will most serve them? Can they really manipulate that to do that? It sure appears to be that way because, she'd been in the hospital a month or so after this all took place. She was in the hospital, had colon cancer, part of her colon removed. She's had a problem with something else, and she's had a problem with her heart, and she's been in the hospital. She worked maybe, 3-4 months out of the last year. She was off for 2 months, the last 2 months, August and September. At least that's what the answer machine said. And there are people who have told me you can't believe anything she says. She may know you're calling to see what's on the answer machine, and she put on the answer machine she wasn't working. She wouldn't be able to go to work until September. Then wouldn't be able to go to work till October. Could be all a lie. Because you can't believe her. Can't believe a thing you hear, a thing she says. And I've been told to be very cautious because sometimes the narcissist will All of a sudden, after they've had you in no contact, all of a sudden will decide they want your attention because you fed them well. You were a good supply for a while, and it's not that they miss it, it's that the supply they had wasn't satisfying them, so they tend to want to look back towards you because, especially if you've been with them a long time. I don't know, but that told me I basically needed to really get my head around this, because if that was to take place, I would be crazy in having anything whatsoever to do with her, because the way she set me up, next time could be very, very disastrous for me. And all she's got to do is lie, because that's what she did first time. She lied, and she did something to herself to make that lie look credible. And I even suggested that to my lawyer, and he said, well, I don't know how she could do that. Well, it's too bad you people don't go have this person have a medical check. It's too bad you don't pay attention and ask more questions, because this woman could bruise herself if she looked hard at herself in the mirror. She could bruise herself. She always bruised very easily. A lot of times she had bruises she couldn't explain to me. I said, where in the world did you get that bruise on your hip? I don't know. I don't think she did know, because she could bruise looking hard at herself in the mirror. But she claimed the bruise was caused by me. And that's what got me charged, arrested, put in jail. Why she bailed me out the next day, I don't know. Maybe she just felt that that was the better thing to do. But got me bailed. I got bailed out the next day. Haven't heard a word from her since. Not seen her, had no contact with her. Heard a lot of rumors, but they're not reliable. And I'm not one that believes in rumors. I don't like believing in rumors, because rumors are meant to manipulate people. And anything connected with a narcissist that you don't know for certain, and hell, I lived with her for 37 years. And then realized that I knew nothing about that person and lived with her for 37 years. Built a business with her for 37 years. So at this point in time, in a no-contact situation, I'm supposed to believe what Joe Schmo says over here that may have been planted with him. He may be telling what he thinks is the truth, but it was planted with him, figuring it would get back to me. I don't know. I don't trust her. I don't trust her at all. Someone told me that if I was in the store and I seen her there, I had to get the hell out of there. My own defense attorney told me she set me up. My own therapist. Yeah, I went to a marriage counselor. That's what brought this all on. I have to roll this back a little bit. I went to a marriage counselor. Took her and I went to a marriage counselor a week before. We were supposed to go for an appointment to talk about our situation. I said, we need a marriage counselor. We need a third party to help mediate and find out what's going on, because something's not right. You're not listening to me. You're being disrespectful. And I says, and if it comes down and you don't want to be married as a result of going to a marriage counselor, then fine. Whatever trips your trigger, baby. She wouldn't go. Came home after we got the appointment. She went and called Adult Protective Services, and they showed up, and she started her lying. Started her lying campaign. Started her smear campaign. And it's been hard for me to even talk about this. I've tried. I mean, in the reality in my mind of talking about it without immediately wanting to bawl, because she violated me, she violated our marriage, she violated the business, she violated our pets, she violated herself, she violated her own family. I'm beginning to realize that's what was going on all these years. She's a violator. She violated my God, my beliefs, my faith, very early, and I didn't even realize it. And I'm tired of kicking myself, blaming myself for being so stupid, thinking, my God, why didn't you see this? Why didn't you figure this out? Well, I didn't figure this out. It was already figured out for me on YouTube, watching YouTube out of curiosity. And the next thing I know, I was watching it because I thought I was the narcissist. I mean, that's why I started watching it. was I thought maybe I was a narcissist. I'd heard the term narcissist. Somebody said something about narcissist, and I thought, oh, they mean I'm a narcissist? So I started watching it. The more I watched it, the more I realized that's not me. That's her. Oh my God, that's her. Oh my God, that is her. Like I say, these people had to know my wife, had to know her intimately. And now they know narcissist, and she's fit the category. All the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. That's her. There's nothing to do about it. This isn't that. I mean, I'm a male. I'm a guy. You know, we try to figure out what makes something tick so we can fix it. This can't be fixed. That's the disheartening thing about this. Is the number of these say, you know, basically that you can't fix a narcissist. They are the way they are. You can't fix them. There's no medication for it. There's no real counseling for it. That's just the way they are until they self-terminate. And they can't self-terminate, or somebody will terminate them. Somebody will not take whatever they're dishing out, or they'll miscalculate. The next thing you know, somebody will terminate them. And the crazy thing about it is, the more I've studied on this, the more I realize this isn't just about my wife, or my ex-narc, whatever you want to call her. This is about people, and there's a lot more narcissists out there than what we realize. I noticed that one day when I was discussing this with somebody, and then I realized with their responses and their behavior that, oh my God, I'm discussing my wife as a narcissist with a person who's, oh my God, obviously a narcissist also. Oh boy, you don't want to do that. No. It turns out there's a lot of narcissists at different stages of, I don't want to say development, at different stages of, I guess, I don't know if you call it development, or at different stages of, there's a lot of them. Yeah. At different degrees, I guess you could say. Some are pathological, some of them are homicidal, some are suicidal, some are overt, covert, diabolical, psychopathic, neurotic, you name it. But they all come under the same heading of narcissist. I don't know. Anyhow, I'm going to be celebrating an anniversary next month. It's going to be a year since she set me up, had me arrested, discarded me, and has not talked to me since, not even a how do you do or how you doing. I was so disabled a year ago at this time, I couldn't hardly walk. I certainly had a hard time breathing. I was in pain. The neuropathy in my feet, if that's what it was so bad that I get up to walk to the bathroom. It was like I was walking on broken glass. And my respiratory problem, I was using an inhaler. Oh God, it seemed like every hour. Emergency inhaler. In an environment that was not conducive. It was not a friendly environment. It was not a healthy environment for somebody with a respiratory disease. I think my respiratory disease was due to the environment, because after I was arrested, taken out of there, and no longer around that, in that environment, my breathing has gotten, how do I say this, 85, 90% better. I'm not even doing an inhaler anymore. I haven't done it in months. My feet still got a problem with them, but nothing whatsoever like it was. My biggest problem right now that really debilitates me, that had me debilitated back then too, very debilitated, but I didn't move around that much because of my feet and my breathing, so I didn't notice it as much, but it was there, and that's my back. I've got a back that's a degenerative spine, lower back, blowed a disc out years ago, and there are times it's pinching and it just disables the hell out of me. So needless to say, I don't go very far 71. I'm on I'm disabled. I'm on limited Social Security. I don't go very far, but I'm 100% better now than what I was a year ago before she had me forcibly removed, discarded. Oh, yeah, forgot about that. In August of last year, not this August, a year ago August, it came on the news that my pacemakers had been recalled. I looked it up, and mine was one of them. Talked to her about it. And she just sort of chuckled. She said, "Well, I wouldn't worry about it." And I said, "Well, I'm not worried about it. It says that I'm supposed to contact my cardiologist." "Well, you really want to do that?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I don't find out what's going on." She said, "Well, look at it this way. You got the pacemaker put in 2011. She says, 7 years now. That's 7 years more than what you would have had. I just consider myself lucky that you got that and not worry about it." So what are you saying? She's, "Well, if you die, you still had 7 more years than what you would have had." That was her logic. What?